to open it. Yeah, wow.
Hey everybody, I'm Bill with Live Simple, Live Free, and I'm finally going to be able to get back to finishing the siding on this thing. It's been driving me crazy to have it half done. I've completely lost time. I think it's been probably at least 6 or 7 weeks since I had to quit working on the siding because of my back injury. And since then I've been going to the chiropractor at least twice a week, and I've seen slow, steady improvement, and now I'm ready to get back to work. And then we took that trip down to Nashville for a few days, so we're back from that, and now I'm looking forward to finally being able to get this thing done. Now running the soffit is really pretty easy. You use this F strip because it's shaped like an F, and you nail it up there. You put another F strip out here upside down, and then you put one across the end right here. Then you just take the soffit. Now you don't want to run the soffit this way, which seems like most logical when you first start. You want to run it the other way and cut short pieces. And this is hard for me to do with one hand because I'm holding the camera. But you just slide this end into the F strip. See if I can get it in there. And then slide that out. Let me use two hands here for a second. Okay, so now you can see it's in the F strip over here, and it's in the F strip right here, and down at the end. It's in right there. So that's all you need to do. You don't really even need to nail it, though I usually like to put a nail right here every once in a while, every 4 feet or so, just to kind of stabilize things. And then once you get this one in, the next one that you put in has a lock that slides into here, and then you just pull it tight. And that's all there is to it. I'm trying to cut up the soffit here, and it keeps raining on me. I have to keep wiping the water off of here. And look at the cloud. That's the cloud that's raining on me. Unbelievable. Apparently there's a wasp nest inside the shed someplace, because ever since I put the soffit on, I've had several of these wasps flying around trying to get up there into the eaves where they used to be able to get through to their nest, and they can't anymore. But I don't know where the nest is. It just is inside someplace. So now that I've finished the soffit, I can go ahead and put in this last piece of siding. First thing I need to do is nail up a P-strip, and I'll show you what this is in a minute. These wasps are flying around up here and giving me fits, trying to get to their nest. Then I got to measure the height of this last piece of siding. Turns out the height was 8 inches. Right there. So I'm just going to cut it with a knife. Now I don't need to draw a line here. This is a skill that takes time to develop over time, but you see that I have a ridge right here, and I also have this where I can brace my hand against that. Then I can just run my hand right along with my knuckle here to keep me straight. Just run right down like this. Now that I've just run it down there and scored the edge of it, all I have to do is just bend it and it snaps off. Okay, so now I got this cut off at the right height. This line isn't perfectly straight, but it's close enough because it's going to be hidden. This is this P strip. You can see it's shaped like a P, and this is what I nailed up against the wall. And here's how this works. There's this tool that's for siding, and you put a crimp in here. See that little barb that it creates? So you have this nailed against the wall. This bottom part locks into the top of the siding below it, so the bottom is attached. And then for the top, you just slide it up inside of the P-strip, and this little barb here catches and it won't come out. And of course it's nailed behind here. So that's how you end up with this piece up at the top without any nails showing. It's actually a pretty cool system. So I just got to put these little barbs about every 6 inches or so, and that'll hold it in place. Okay, so you can see now that I've got this top piece snapped in, and it locks in down here on the bottom, and then it slides up inside of the P-strip, and those little barbs grab up inside of there so it can't slide out. So we now have this whole top piece there with no exposed nails. The system is actually kind of pretty cool the way it works. So as Jethro Clampett would say, this here is going to take a heap of saffron. I got that last piece to cut up in there. I got to cut around here, around the the vent, I got to cut the overall length, and then I got to cut that very narrow angle right there. So I've already got the vent marked out, and I've already marked the overall length to right here. Now what I need to do, I measured from that corner point over 3 feet and then measured up to give me my angle. So here's how that works. So here's my end line. I'm just going to cut a notch in there so I have some place to hook my tape measure. Bring it over 3 feet and then come up 6 inches. Right there. Now I need to take a long straight edge, mark it there and here. The bigger the angle is, or the more narrow the angle is, the harder it is to figure it out. If it's only a little bit, it's not bad, but when it's like this, it can be a real bear to figure it out. Now I got to cut that thing. All right. And then I still have to cut out around the vent. Now this is a very difficult piece to do. So you measure it all out, you measure it twice, you lay it out on the siding, you measure it twice, and then you cut it all, and then when you put it up, you just pray that it fits. Here goes. See what I did? I cut the notch wrong. I should have cut it from the bottom half. So I got to start all over. So let's see what this angle looks like. No, the angle doesn't work either. Well, I have no idea what I did, but it's totally wrong on several counts. Okay, so once again, this is hard to do when I'm holding a camera with one hand, but I extended this out, and you can see that little X right there. That's where I need to measure to get my big angle, and then after I get this big angle, then I'll have to cut this smaller one into it. So now when I measure from there, from the new point, I come over to here, and this is my new mark. This was my old one. So now when I measure up, instead of getting 6 inches, looks like it's only going to be 5.5. That can make a big difference. Okay, so here's the old one, and here's the new one. You can see how much of a difference it makes right here. This is the new angle and the old angle. Just a 1/2 inch difference here makes 1.5 inches difference up here at the other end. Hopefully that'll fit now. I still need to cut the notch for the vent and make sure I cut it the right direction this time. All right, looks like it's going to fit. I just have to cut this angle on the end here. A little more adjustment right there. All right, let's try this again. All right, third time's a charm. Now this is locked in down underneath of here, but there's nothing, there'll be a nail there and there's nothing else all the way along here. So what I'm going to do is get some of those little white aluminum fascia nails. I don't have any, I need to buy some. And I'll just stick one right here and one probably right here, and that'll hold that in place. I also need to put one right here to keep this from gapping open, and that'll secure it all in place. Now that little piece just snaps right in, and this will be the same as on the other end. Once I get those little white fascia nails, I'll put one right here underneath of that little lip, and they blend in and you don't even see them. All right, one side done. Now if you look at the end of this piece of siding, it has this notch right here, and the one behind it also has a notch. So when I measure this piece, I'll hook the tape down there and pull it out this way, and then I mark a spot. I leave about ½ an inch to an inch gap here, so I'll measure to a point right about here. And then when I measure the one that I'm going to cut, I measure from the notch. So if I have, 120 inches, or it'll be, no, let's say 90 inches. If I have 90 inches, then I would measure not from here, but from here. And I would pull out 90 inches and then cut it off. That way, when I put the siding in place, there's a gap here, and see this here, and that overlaps. Tuck that underneath, and I've got maybe 1.5 inches or so overlap here to keep the weather out. And then when you nail this in, this space right here is for expansion. So in the sun, in the heat, if it'll expand and it'll get longer. That gap gives it some room to expand. And you always want to have the joint facing away from the line of traffic. In other words, right now you can see all of the joints there. But when you come in the driveway, you're coming in this direction, and notice how, because of the direction of the lap, the joints disappear. You can't even see them. Unless you come around the other direction, then you can see them. So you always want to think about which way you're going to lap them, and you want to lap them in such a way that your main direction of traffic, where you'll see it, the joints are hidden. Also, when you finish one side and you're going around the corner to start the other side, you don't want to just measure up and put your starter strip here. You want to match it to the other side. So I'll put a mark here, I'll bring it around, and then put the starter strip so it matches that side, because you want these to line up. Notice how this piece lines up with that piece. This is just slightly lower. You want to try to get them to line up. If you don't, it'll look really funny, because you could have this, the bottom of this piece here and the bottom of this piece down here, and it looks really sloppy. But see, I got them all lined up here, and it looks nice and neat, like it should. First couple times when I was younger, I did this and I didn't match it up, and it was all done, and I came back and looked at it. Oh, it looked so horrible. I had to take the whole thing down and start over again. I would have left it if it was just something that I was doing for myself, but I was doing it. It was a paid job, and I couldn't leave it like that. So, lesson hard learned. Make sure your siding matches up as you go around corners. So I bought 4 squares of siding. That's 400 square feet. Each square is 100 square feet. 4 squares of siding. I just ran out, got to the end of my siding, and you see I need 3 more pieces of siding. So I'm on a roll here, but I'm going to have to stop and go to Lowe's and get some more siding. What a bummer. Now, putting on the fascia is a fairly simple task, and it's very similar to putting on the top piece of siding. Here on the bottom I have this F strip nailed on, and if I was going to put soffit here, the soffit would go into the slot in the F strip. But I'm not going to be putting any soffit under here, but I still have to put that there to hold the fascia. So then out here we have P strip on the top once again, and we have the F strip on the bottom. Now normally you have a 2x6 fascia here, but I only have a 2x4 fascia, so I had to actually rip down this piece of fascia more narrow, because it used to be about that wide. So just like the top piece of siding, I got this P strip up here, and then you can see here where I put the barbs in there with that tool that I have. All you do is just push the barbs up into the piece strip like that. Then I'm just going to pull it down and hook it. Hook the bottom on the F-strip. So I'm taking this fascia, there's a little hook on it, and I'm just locking it into the bottom of the F-strip right there. Well, I'm finished with the siding. I still have to put the gutter on here. I still have to put some fascia, some flashing right here in this little section. And I still need to go around and trim off the roofing, the polycarbonate or whatever it is roofing that I have that's hanging over too far. But all of that will be for another day and another video. At least I've got the siding done. Finally. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Join me in the next shed video for the gutters and to finish up all the little details. And that should be coming fairly soon, hopefully. So, thanks for watching. Be blessed. Live simple, live free. Catch you next time.